And welcome to another episode of Ralston Live. I'm your host, John Ralston. Today, we are fortunate to have Karen Lauria Saillant. She's with International Opera Theater. It's a Philadelphia-based nonprofit. Karen, first of all, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you, John. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Deb Wallace told me all about you, and she was very excited. She called me over the phone, and she had to tell me about you. And she said, would you be able to interview her? I'm like, yeah, it sounds like an incredible story. First of all, how long have you been working with the opera in Philadelphia?
Well, I started out when I was a young girl. So I guess I've been working, I'm 76 years young now.
No
So
way.
I guess I've been working for over 65 years
Wow.
in the opera world as an amateur and then eventually as a professional.
Now, we were talking off camera here, and we were talking about both having a little Italian heritage. And
Yeah.
but I speak no Italian, so how do people keep up with what's going on stage if they don't know the language? I know you have a good answer for me.
That's a really good question, John. In my operas, we do not use super titles. So, for example, when we did the American premiere of Iago here in Philadelphia at the Media Theater, I spoke to the audience ahead of time. I explained the story, the synopsis was in the program, and then I asked everyone to just sit back and experience the opera as they would a ballet. Because all of our singers work to be very expressive physically. So that's part of the new renaissance in opera that we're creating.
I remember seeing the Philadelphia Ballet Company with someone I was dating at the time. I wanted to impress her. I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to get this. And actually, I got to see one of the things they were doing. I could actually see a story taking place. I'm like, oh, wow, I get it. So I
Right.
assume it's similar to that.
Similar, and first of all, the music helps, the expressive nature of the singers and their movements, and then the Italian language itself is very sound symbolic. So even though we may not understand exactly what they're singing, we understand the gist of it if the singers do a good job. So I'm not for super titles like most opera companies are using right now. I want the audience to stop thinking, let down their defenses, and feel.
How does that work? Where do they post the actual words?
We don't post the words.
Mm-hmm. No, but where do they, meaning other opera
Like
companies?
the Metropolitan
Yeah.
Opera. Some places have them. I think the Met has them on the back of the seat in front of you.
Really?
Some places project them up over the performers.
Yeah, it's better than you having to take out your phone and read it.
Oh,
Everybody would have their phone out. I couldn't imagine how they were doing
no,
it,
I
but
think it's better to not do that at all. I think it's better to think of the experience as a holistic, nonverbal experience. And so you read the story, you understand it ahead of time, and then you just immerse yourself in the feelings.
the older I get, the more I find that in all art, from writing to painting to performance, and I get to appreciate a little bit of everything. So, how has COVID impacted what you're doing this year?
Well, we have created 16 world premieres in this beautiful little Italian town called Città della Pieve in Umbria,
I'm glad you said that.
between Rome and Florence.
Oh, nice.
But so you must come, do one of your shows from there. But
I have to now.
Yes, you must. But this year we could not go there. As you know, we were forbidden. Americans are forbidden from going to Italy. And also, in our productions, the opera singers, each opera singer and each instrumentalist is from a different culture. So we have all these people coming from different cultures, but of course this year they couldn't come.
Well, I'll sneak you in, Karen. I know a guy. So now there's so many people involved in making your operas. In addition to yourself, you have college students, you have composers, artists, costume designers. How do you bring everything together in 1 month?
Well, we use a very special system called Ausstrahlung, Australung.
I'll take your
It's a
word for
German
that.
word, and it means charisma or emanation. And so we work in nonverbal communication, just instinct and feeling and knowing and serendipity and chance, and it
Well,
works.
I like your outlook on life. Take us on a kind of visual tour in our mind. Describe the ambience, the sights and smells and sounds of going to Italy.
Well, in our little town, it retains its Italianità. So it's not like going to a big city. Very few people speak English on the streets.
Uh-huh.
So you have the smells uh, of the bakery, or in the winter, as it gets near winter, you have the smell of fires and fireplaces. And then we're up above one of the largest lakes in Italy, Lake Trasimeno. So you just have a slight mist from the lake. It's
Beautiful.
the perfect kind of creative environment. The cobblestone streets and the brick buildings just invite you in the small alleyways. And we have the smallest street in all of Europe, one of the smallest, called Bacia Donna, which means kiss the lady. And
Oh,
so a lot of people
my
get
kind of
kissed
town.
in that street, yes. So it's a very special town with a lot of history. Pietro Perugino was born there. He is known as Pietro Vanucci, excuse me. He's known as Perugino, and he was the teacher of Raphael and the most famous Italian painter before Da Vinci and Michelangelo. And
Wow.
so he was born in this town. There's just some magical quality in Città della Pieve.
Now, how do you work with people, young children, especially who don't know one word of Italian? Nor do I. They probably know more than I do right now.
Well, we begin with listening. The children come and sing in the opera. They work every day on the stage except 1 day a week with me. They will work with an Italian conductor. And before they come, they work with an Italian native speaker who works with them on the sound of the Italian language. These sounds of Italian are so beautiful, but we're not used to making those sounds as Americans. So these children who have never spoken Italian before have a chance to assimilate the ways their mouths can create a beautiful Italian sound.
That's great exposure for them, in general, to be able to do that. And small children, they can keep going with that and learn the language probably pretty fast,
They're amazing, yes.
Now, they call the opera In Harmony with Nature. It transforms people's lives, would you say?
Yeah, because obviously, if we can be in harmony with nature, it transforms our lives in every way. But if an opera singer can be in harmony, like not having excessive opening of the mouth and breathing naturally and being spontaneous and able to collaborate, self-organize on the stage, all of the characteristics of nature, then they are truly authentic and they convey that message to their audience. And they work together on the stage in an unconscious consensus. You know, when we're in the supermarket and we're walking down the aisles, nobody's directing us. We're looking for whatever we're looking for. Some are just walking through the supermarket.
Well,
But
I
people
have an
aren't,
assistant, so.
but people aren't bumping into each other. And we certainly don't need a director to be telling us where to go in the supermarket.
Yeah, I
But
was
we
married
think,
2 times. All my best jokes are coming out today. Unfortunately, you missed a lot because my audio was off.
I know, I'm so sorry about that. Don't hesitate to do them over.
Well, I hear you have an interesting story. I heard a rumor that one production, a boy wanted to be a duck, not the character which you had cast him. How did that work out?
Oh my goodness. That, in fact, today our duck is studying to be a professional musician.
Wow.
Yes, he we created a role for the duck, and his mother and I laugh till this day. She calls him my duck, and he is. uh, we had another little boy who couldn't stand still on the stage, so we created a role for him where he would go running off the stage and sit in the audience for a while and then come running back. That's the advantage of creating new operas. We're not creating, but even in a traditional opera, there are so many ways that we can add new ideas and support the magic imagination of the performers and especially when they're children.
Now, what is your story? What drew you to this? I know you've had some challenges over the past few years, and now you have this pandemic.
Yeah. What drew me to creating operas?
Well, you have an inspiring personal story. You've received uh, glowing reviews and standing ovations from Italy to all around the country. So, what would make you leave a brilliant career and return to the U.S. to marry your Philadelphia childhood sweetheart, Bernie?
Well, it was true love. You know, I came back from singing in Europe 2 weeks before we were scheduled to be married. And I told him I wasn't marrying him. I was never going to marry him.
You hear that, Bernie?
Excuse me?
Did he hear you when you said it?
He heard me when I said it, but he would not accept that answer.
Good
And
for
so
Bernie.
he helped me write letters to all of our wedding people and tell them that our wedding had been indefinitely postponed. And then I went back to Europe to sing, but he didn't give up. And finally, after 5 years, I realized I really loved him. And he was a very special, special, beautiful individual. And I wanted to come home and marry him.
Patience
So,
is the key, Bernie. He nailed it. He got it. So you have a large YouTube presence. You're on YouTube.
well, we are on YouTube under International Opera. And right now, there's a festival going on in Città della Pieve for 20 days, which is celebrating our 16 years of operas. So your audience can actually go onto YouTube to International Opera and see an image from some of the photographs that are being displayed throughout the city and in Città della Pieve, and then hear some excerpts from each of the operas.
I'll put a couple links in the bottom of the YouTube link that has these websites that you can go to.
Oh, thank you.
It's the internationaloperatheater.org. Also, their YouTube page, you want to look for International Opera. They have that. That's a little easy for people to get to. Yeah, I've been working on websites and doing all this crazy stuff. I was on your website and I liked it, and I went on the YouTube, and I don't understand Italian, so how do you help people along with not knowing the language? I know you said it's an art form, and but do you think people want to know what the story is about?
Yeah, well, we're working on having like a 2-line summary of the story. But I just encourage everyone to look at the image and listen. There are only 2-minute excerpts in the festival YouTube that you'll see when you first go on the playlist. So, how did you feel when you listened or looked at what we had there, John?
Well, I know, I'm listening to it. It was beautiful. I heard a male voice. I heard a female voice. I think I heard the female voice first, and it was beautiful. And I'm like, wow, this is like professional opera, And
Thank you.
how do you get people? How do you pick people? Who do you consider good for the opera?
Well, it depends on the character, of course, of the that I need them to play. And of course, I complicate things because I want each opera singer from a different culture. So I might have two really great German singers, but I only want one of them to come. We listen to the uh, beauty of the voice. And it's really important for doing the kind of work we do in Città della Pieve to see if the singer is able to be spontaneous, if they're able to move me when I listen to them, if I hear them communicating from a deep part of themselves. That's what I look for in the singing that we listen to. And of course, it's over YouTube or videos that the singers send because there's no way I can go to 75 different countries to
Sure,
get
sure.
all the singers and the instrumentalists.
Yeah. So you've been doing this through the internet for quite a while before COVID.
Yes, yes.
That's great. That's great. So you've been called the female soldier in the service of art by an Italian journalist who saw your Buffalo Soldier opera that premiered in, you're going to have to pronounce that for me.
Città della Pieve.
Okay. Rome's oldest theater, by the way.
Oh, and then we went to Rome's oldest theater. After we premiered it, we went to Rome's oldest theater, as you say, Teatro Valle, where many famous composers from the past had their operas premiered, many Italian composers, but for 40 years the theater had not premiered an opera. So they opened their orchestra pit just to premiere the Buffalo Soldier opera, which
Wow.
was in both English and Italian. It was about the opera's about the Italian partisans and the amazingly courageous, as were the partisans, but the amazingly courageous 92nd Segregated Infantry Division, meaning all African Americans
Wow.
who came to Italy to save Italy at the end of the Second World War. They had to wait over 40 years for their first Congressional Medal of Honor.
Mm.
It's an unbelievable story of persecution and prejudice and injustice that these soldiers faced, both in the front lines in Italy and then when they returned home to have to sit in the backs of buses or not be able to eat at a lunch counter.
Well, a lot of people, like we were talking about in the early days of this country, Italians weren't really considered Caucasians. And I remind my family where we come from in Sicily and the history of Sicily, when anybody even alludes to being a little bit prejudiced, but you can't do that. You can't do that anymore, but
Yeah,
it's something
prejudice,
I never did.
as we were saying earlier when we were talking personally, we did an opera about Sacco and Vanzetti, who were executed basically because they were Italian in the 1920s. And it was really, really emotionally moving to be able to share an opera on this subject in Italy. And it's my dream one day to bring it to Philadelphia. I hope I'll be able to do that.
What else do you have? Where do you want to see this go?
Well, we want to keep creating the new renaissance in opera so that opera singers can actually change the frame of reference, meaning heal, meaning when audiences come in to see the opera and then when they leave, they're transformed, they're changed. So I want to continue that work in Italy next year. We're hoping to do an opera based on the life of Dante, because Dante will have the 700th anniversary of his death.
Wow. Yes,
Very,
people
very
are still
important.
reading his work.
Amazing, amazing writer and powerful force for good in our world. And so we'll create that opera in Italy. And my dream is to be able to continue coming back to Philadelphia with some of these operas. And my son, my younger son, is my rock. He comes with me to Italy. He does everything with me. He moves mattresses, he moves pianos, he does the lights, he writes librettos, and he will take over in my place once I'm 145 and not able to do this anymore.
You'll see. You'll be around. I won't be around. You'll be around.
No, I hope you're around. I hope you'll come to Italy.
Oh, that would be so special. Cecilia would love that too. And
Yeah, I want Deborah to come too.
yeah, yeah, Deborah. She's great. I appreciate all the hard work she did putting this interview together for us.
I appreciate it too, John.
Once again, the website is internationaloperatheater.org, and there you can get links to the YouTube page. It's the International Opera Theater, a Philadelphia-based nonprofit. Now, how can people help you with your cause? Can they donate through the website?
Yes, on the website, there's a donation page. If they have children who would like to come to Italy and sing with us in our operas, they can let us know at info@internationaloperatheater.org. If they would like to help us spread the word, they can write to me personally, Karen@internationaloperatheater.org. Yeah.
And so it's Karen, Lauria, Saillant, the International Opera Theater. Keep us informed of events that you may be having in 2021, when those things are coming out, and I'll keep up with what you're doing and let my audience know.
Oh, John, thank you so much.
Thank you, and it was great talking to you, and we wish you all the best.
Oh, John, thank you. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best and all your listeners, and thanks for this wonderful opportunity to share our work.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you, Karen. And folks, I want to let you know.